ऐसे श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापकाचार्य से द होल वर्ल्ड जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंद। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 14. Chapter 14 is entitled King Pururava Enchanted by Urvashi. Text number 10. Tatyaja Vridita Tara. Tatyaja Vridita Tara. Tatyaja Vridita Tara. Kumaram Kanaka Prabham. Kumaram Kanaka Prabham. Kumaram Kanaka Prabham. Spriham Angirasaha Chakre. Spriham Angirasas Chakre. Spriham Angirasas Chakre. Kumare Soma Eva Cha. Kumare Soma Eva Cha. Kumare Soma Eva Cha. Tatyaja Vridita Tara. Kumaram Kanakaprabham. Sprühamangi Rasas Chakre. Kumare Soma Eva Cha. Tatyaja Vridita Tara. Kumaram Kanakaprabham. Sprühamangi Rasas Chakre. Kumare Soma Eva Cha. Vridita Tara. Kumaram Kanakaprabham. Sprühamangi Rasas Chakre. Kumare Soma Eva Cha. Tatyaja Vridita Tara. Kumaram Kanakaprabham. Sprühamangi Rasas Chakre. Kumare Soma Eva Cha. Tatyaja gave delivery. Vridita, being very much ashamed. Tara, Tara, the wife of Brihaspati. Kumaram, to a child. Kanaka Prabham, having a bodily effulgence like gold. Spriham, aspiration. Angirasaha, Brihaspati. Chakre, maid. Kumare, unto the child. Somaha, the moon god. Eva, indeed. Cha, also. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Shukadev Goswami continued, by Brihaspati's order, Tara, who was very much ashamed, immediately gave birth to the child, who was very beautiful, with a golden bodily hue. Both Brihaspati and the moon god Soma desired the beautiful child. Please repeat this translation after me. Shukadev Goswami continued, by Brihaspati's order, Tara, who was very much ashamed, immediately gave birth to the child, who was very beautiful, with a golden bodily hue. Both Brihaspati and the moon god Soma desired the beautiful child. I'll read the next few verses by myself. Text 11. Mamayam nattavetyuchai tasmin vivada manayoho paprachur rishayo deva naivoche vridita tusa. Translation. Fighting again broke out between Brihaspati and the moon god, both of whom claimed, this is my child, not yours. All the saints and demigods present asked Tara, whose child the newborn baby actually was. But because she was ashamed, she could not immediately answer. Text 12. Kumaro mataram praha kupito alikalajjaya kimna vachasi asadvritte atmavadyam vadashume. Translation. The child then became very angry and demanded that his mother immediately tell the truth. You unchaste woman, he said, what is the use of your unnecessary shame? Why do you not admit your fault? Immediately tell me about your faulty behavior. Text 13. Brahma tam raha ahuya samaprakshit jas santvayan somasyeti aha shanakai somastam tavadagrahit. Translation. Lord Brahma then brought Tara to a secluded place, and after pacifying her, he asked to whom the child actually belonged. She replied very slowly, this is the son of Soma, the moon god. Then the moon god immediately took charge of the child. Text 14. Tasyatmayonir akrita buddha ityabhidham nripa buddhya gambhiraya yena putrena po duran mudam. Translation. O Maharaj Parikshit, when Lord Brahma saw that the child was deeply intelligent, he gave the child the name Buddha. The moon god, the ruler of the stars, enjoyed great jubilation because of this son. Text 15 and 16. Tata pururava jagne ilayam ya उदाहृतः तस्य रूप गुणौदार्य शीलद्रविणविक्रमान् श्रुत्वोर्वशीन्द्रभवने गीयमानान् सुरर्षिणा तदन्तिकम् उपेयाय देवी स्मर शरार्दिता. Translation. Thereafter from Buddha, through the womb of Ila, a son was born named Pururava, who was described in the beginning of the 9th canto. When his beauty, personal qualities, magnanimity, behavior, wealth, and power were described by Narada in the court of Lord Indra, the celestial woman Urvashi was attracted to him. Pierced by the arrow of Cupid, she thus approached him. Texts 17 and 18. Mitra Varuna Yoshapad Apanna Naralokatam Nishamya Purusha Shreshtham Kandarpam Iva Rupinam Dhritim Vishtabhya Lalana Upatasthe Tadantike Satam Vilokya Nripatir Harshenotfullalochanaha Uvacha Shlakshnaya Vacha Devim Hrishtatanuruha. Translation. Having been cursed by Mitra and Varuna, the celestial woman Urvashi had acquired the habits of a human being. Therefore, upon seeing Pururava, the best of males, whose beauty resembled that of Cupid, she controlled herself and then approached him. When King Pururava saw Urvashi, his eyes became jubilant in the ecstasy of joy, and the hairs on his body stood on end. With mild, pleasing words, he spoke to her as follows. Text 19. Shri Rajo Vacha Swagatam te vararohe asyatam karavamakim samramasva maya sakam ratirnau shashwati samaha. Translation. King Pururava said, O most beautiful woman, you are welcome. Please sit here and tell me what I can do for you. You may enjoy with me as long as you desire. Let us pass our life happily in a sexual relationship. Text 20. Urvashuvacha kasyastvayina sajjeta mano drishtischa sundara yad angantaram asadya chavateha riramsaya. Translation. Urvashi replied, O most handsome man, who is the woman whose mind and sight would not be attracted by you? If a woman takes shelter of your chest, she cannot refuse to enjoy with you in a sexual relationship. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When a beautiful man and a beautiful woman unite together and embrace one another, how within these three worlds can they check their sexual relationship? Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.45 says, Yan maithunadi grihamedi sukham hi tuchham. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatar. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this chapter, as the title indicates, describes how King Pururava was enchanted by an apsara from the heavenly planets, Urvashi. So the description is given here about Pururava's birth. The background is that Brihaspati's wife Tara was kidnapped, forcibly taken away by Soma, the moon god, because the moon god was very powerful. He conquered the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems, and performed a great sacrifice called Rajasuya Yajna. Because he was very much puffed up, he forcibly kidnapped Brihaspati's wife, whose name was Tara. So after that, Brihaspati, the spiritual master of the demigods, he requested Soma, please return my wife. It is not proper for you to keep her in your custody and enjoy her when she's properly married to me. But Soma did not care for the request of Brihaspati because he was very powerful and he was very proud of his power and strength and influence. So there was consequently a fight between the demigods and the demons. Now, how did the demons get involved when Brihaspati was the spiritual master of the demigods and Soma belonged to the category of demigods? So how in a fight between Brihaspati and Soma did the demons get involved? That is described here because of enmity between Brihaspati and Shukracharya. Brihaspati is the spiritual master of the Devatas, and Shukracharya is the spiritual master of the demons. And the demons and demigods are generally envious of each other. They're always opposed to each other. They're always enemies. Why? Because both desire to enjoy in the heavenly planets. Therefore, there is constant competition between who will capture the power of ruling the heavenly planets. Generally, the Devatas are able to have the upper hand and defeat the demons. But rarely the demons do manage to defeat the Devatas and capture power in the heavenly planets. So, Shukracharya, who was the spiritual master of the demons, he was having some kind of enmity with Brihaspati. So, since Shukracharya was inimical to Brihaspati, he took the side of the moon god, because the fight was between moon god and Brihaspati. Shukracharya, the guru of the Asuras, he took side of the moon god, Devatas. I mean, he was a Devata. And later on, the demons joined Shukracharya in supporting Soma, the moon god. And then when Lord Shiva, he had some affection for the son of his spiritual master. So he joined the side of Brihaspati. And Shiva was accompanied by all the ghosts and the hobgoblins. So in this way, this fight between Brihaspati and Soma became a very, very big fight between the demigods and the demons. Indra, in order to support his spiritual master, he naturally took the side of Brihaspati. But Indra was accompanied by so many other demigods who joined the side of Brihaspati. So thus, only for the sake of this Brihaspati's wife, there was a big fighting between the demons and the demigods, and there was a lot of killing that happened on both sides. The demons are killing the demigods, and the demigods are killing the demons. You see how even among such exalted personalities as Devatas, in this material world, there could be very severe fighting. Now, when they fight, they forget their position, they forget the real purpose of their existence, and they become completely involved in simply fighting to defeat the enemy. At what cost? At any cost. So then, when Brahma came to know about this fighting, Brahma was informed by Angira Rishi. So then he intervened and severely chastised the moon god Soma, because the cause for the whole fight was the moon god Soma forcibly taking away Brihaspati's wife. So Brahma came and stopped that fighting, and he chastised Soma, and Brahma returned Tara to her husband, Brihaspati. But when Tara returned, she was pregnant. Obviously, Brihaspati became very angry at Tara. Why? Because she was impregnated by Soma. So anyway, Brihaspati did not accuse her. He just rebuked her that, you foolish woman, your womb, which was meant for me to impregnate, has been impregnated by someone other than me. He still doesn't know who has impregnated this Tara. So, because she was very ashamed, having been impregnated by Soma, so she could not deliver the child. So then Brihaspati said, immediately deliver your child. And Brihaspati assured his wife, after the child is delivered, I shall not punish you. Because he was very powerful, Rishi. I know that although you are unchaste, you wanted a son. Therefore, I shall not punish you. It's natural for a woman, a mother, a wife to have a son. But then the Shastras enjoin that a woman should actually have conceived children only through her husband. In some rare instances, when the husband is, due to whatever reason, unable to conceive a child in his wife, then under extraordinary circumstances, the wife may be impregnated by someone other than the husband. And this is in general described in the scriptures as Devarena Sutotpatti. Devarena means the woman may be impregnated by the brother of her husband. If the woman is unable to conceive a child through her husband, due to whatever reason. So, that is an exceptional case, and that happens only when the husband gives permission. Husband actually gives permission. Now, in this case, certainly Brihaspati has not given permission to Tara, to his wife, to conceive a child through somebody else. So, therefore, he is telling her, Brihaspati is telling his wife, although you are unchaste, I'm not going to punish you. Because I understand that out of your desire for your son, you actually did not refuse whoever approached you. So I shall not punish you, but deliver the child immediately. So then, by Brihaspati's order, this Tara, his wife, immediately gave birth to the child, even though she was very much ashamed. And then the child turned out to be very, very, very beautiful, with a golden bodily hue. So then, again, there was a fight between Brihaspati and Soma. Who will possess the child? Because the child was very beautiful, both of them wanted to possess that child. So again, fighting broke out between Brihaspati and Soma, both claiming the child is theirs. Now, why would somebody like Soma claim the child is his when Brihaspati is the husband of Tara? So the rule is that the woman gives birth to a child, it belongs to the husband, even though she might have been impregnated by someone else. Just like the example is given in the Shastras. Pandu, he was cursed that he could not conceive children through his two wives, Kunti and Madri. But he was the emperor of the world, so he wanted to have a successor who would be qualified and able to rule the world. So he was considering how he can have children, sons. So then he came to know that Kunti was blessed by Durvasa Muni, that she can conceive children by calling upon any devata. So when Pandu came to know, and Durvasa Muni had given this this benediction to Kunti Devi when Kunti Devi was a maiden, she was unmarried. That's because Kunti was once serving Durvasa Muni when Durvasa Muni was a guest in her father's house. So then Durvasa Muni could foresee that Kunti will not be able to have children through her husband in future. So he gave her a mantra by which she can call upon any devata and in that way conceive children. So Kunti Devi, she had this benediction. She had learned that mantra from Durvasa. So when Pandu came to know about it, then he requested Kunti that please conceive children in this way so that I can have a proper successor. So Kunti was very much hesitant to utilize that mantra to conceive children. But when Pandu convinced her through the support of scriptural injunctions and convincing his wife Kunti by other saintly persons approving such a way of conceiving children, then Kunti agreed. So first she called upon Yamaraj. So Yamaraj is not only a very powerful devata, but he is actually a pure devotee. So Kunti, being herself a devotee, she called upon Yamaraj. And in that way, Yudhishthira was born, the eldest son of. Now, Yudhishthira is born by Kunti conceiving child through Yamaraj. But because Kunti is married to Pandu, so the son born is actually the son of Pandu. So by a similar logic, actually the child born of Tara is actually Brihaspati's son, because Brihaspati is the husband of Tara. But because she was impregnated by Soma, Soma claimed, this is my son. Soma claimed, this is my son. So the fighting again broke out between the moon god and Brihaspati. Then when again the fighting broke out, all the saints and demigods present there, they asked Tara, the mother of the child, that you have to tell whose child is it. Because she was so ashamed, she would not say anything. She was silent. She did not answer. Then the child which was born, that began to speak to the mother. And the child demanded from the mother, you unchaste woman, what is the use of remaining silent because you are shameful? Why don't you admit your fault and immediately tell about your faulty behavior? So then, even then she was so ashamed, she somehow could not tell in spite of the child rebuking the mother. Then Lord Brahma again had to intervene. So what did Brahma do? She took Tara to a secluded place, pacified her, and very gently asked her, whose child is this? Because only the mother can tell. This is another explanation Prabhupada gives. Just like a child wants to find out who is the father, the only way the child can find out is from the mother. Nobody else can actually properly tell the child who's the father of the child. So nowadays, of course, they say some DNA tests they do to ascertain the parents of the child. But according to Shastra, DNA test may be applied for finding out who's the mother of the child, but it cannot be used for finding out who's the father of the child. It's not possible. So Shastra says the mother is the authority for the child to know who's the father. Similarly, the scriptures say, if we want to find out who is our eternal father, then we have to approach our mother in the form of Vedas. So, the Vedas reveal what is our actual identity and who is our eternal father. So, the Vedas are teaching us we are not the body. In terms of body, yes, the father and mother we ascertain in terms of the body as the mother who has given birth to the child. Mother has given birth to the child means mother has given the body. A mother cannot independently give a body. Mother has to combine with the father. And then father and mother, they are able to give a body to a child. So the Vedas explain that we are not the body. This body is simply a covering for the real person inside this body, the spirit soul. So we are spirit soul, each one of us. Then as spirit soul, who is our father and mother? In terms of body, we know who is our father and mother. But as spirit soul, who is our father and mother? So that also we cannot know except by consulting the Shastra, the scriptures. So the Vedas, the scriptures, the Vedic literature are compared to the mother, eternal mother. And Krishna is the eternal father, the supreme personality of Godhead. So the Vedas direct us to, because Vedas are the authority for us to know who's our eternal father when we understand our identity is spiritual identity. Spiritual identity means we cannot have somebody who's a material person as our father. It's like the father as a material person cannot produce soul, cannot produce spirit. And even the scriptures say, spirit is never born, na jayate, mriyate va kadachit, at any time. So then, as spirit soul, who's our father? So that is Krishna. Krishna is not only one person's father, but is the father of every living being. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham bija pradapita. I am the seed-giving father of every living being. Sarva yonishu kaunteya. So, the Vedas are the mother, and Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is the father, spiritual mother and spiritual father. So therefore, the scripture, there's a conception that the first birth is possible by the mother and father, the material mother and father, or nowadays, as they say, biological father and mother. But the second birth is by the spiritual master and the Vedas. Of course, the spiritual master is acting as the representative of Krishna. Krishna is the original father, the original spiritual master. But till we become Krishna conscious fully, the spiritual master acts as our father and as our guide and as our teacher. So, the spiritual master as the representative of Krishna is the spiritual father. But actually, our original spiritual father is Krishna. Original spiritual father is Krishna. So, therefore, we belong to Krishna. Just like the same thing. The child belongs to the father. Similarly, we belong to Krishna. Krishna is our father, so we belong to Krishna. And Krishna says this in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Sarva bhutani asheshani drakshasi atmani atomayi. Every living being is mine, Krishna claims. Every living being belongs to me. So in ignorance, we think that we belong to a certain set of parents, we belong to certain family, we belong to certain country or a state or a community or this human society or this earth planet or this material world. But actually we don't belong to any of these. Because we are spirit soul, we have a spiritual identity. And spiritual identity means we have a spiritual form, we have spiritual father, we have spiritual residence, we have spiritual activities, we have spiritual relationship. Now, all these things are revealed in the Vedas. That's why Vedic literature is so very important. So very important. So even though out of inquisitiveness to get knowledge, we do study, we read books, we do get knowledge from whatever sources we can get knowledge. But unless we approach the perfect source of the perfect knowledge, our knowledge will remain defective, incomplete, imperfect. So ordinary education, which nowadays especially is very prominent, that we get education from schools, colleges, universities, that is imperfect, incomplete, because it is not giving us knowledge of our true identity, who we are. What is lacking in the modern system of education? The Atma-jnana or Atma-vidya or Brahma-vidya, Brahma-jnana, that is lacking. So Shastra says, without this Brahma-vidya or Atma-vidya, all other forms of knowledge are useless. Are useless. Because they don't reveal to us the identity of the self. So therefore, our attempt at seeking satisfaction, seeking pleasure, seeking peace of mind, seeking peace, seeking any of the nice things in life will always remain incomplete. All our material pursuits, whether it is pursuit of knowledge or pursuit of happiness or pursuit of peace or pursuit of satisfaction, will remain incomplete, imperfect, will remain dissatisfied. So satisfaction, real happiness, real knowledge, complete perfect knowledge can only be obtained from the perfect source, that is the Vedic literature, which gives us the most important knowledge, Atma Vidya, Atma Jnana. So, which is that specific book among the different books in the Vedas, which gives us directly the Vedic, the Atma Jnana, that is Bhagavad Gita. At the end of every chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. So Bhagavad Gita gives us, it is one of the Upanishads. Upanishad means the specific portion of the Vedic literature which explains the fundamental truth about the self, about God, about this world, about our existence. And Brahma Vidya is also the subject matter of the Bhagavad Gita. Yoga Shastra is also the subject matter of Bhagavad Gita. So, these are the three important aspects of Bhagavad Gita. It is Upanishad, it gives us Brahma Vidya, it gives us Yoga Shastra. That's why Bhagavad Gita is the most important literature among so many other varieties of literature in the Vedas. The Bhagavad Gita is the most important. And Srila Prabhupada has presented us Bhagavad Gita as it is. Because Bhagavad Gita people do read, they know it's important literature. But unless we get the proper understanding, without any interpretation. Now, most people who translate or write commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, they present their own viewpoint because they are not receiving the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in the parampara system. In the Bhagavad Gita itself, it is explained that this knowledge has to be received in parampara. So people do not even know that this Bhagavad Gita has to be received from the proper source, proper authority. Though, when it comes to university subject matters which are taught in the university, like physics or any of the sciences or even the fine arts, whatever, they know that you cannot simply go to some pan bidi shop and have a discussion about God and come to a conclusion who is God. I was talking to one person, so I was asking him, what is your understanding of God? He says, I don't know much about God, but I go for one haircut to one particular barber. And this barber, he is a great devotee of some devata. And he has got very good knowledge about God. So whenever he is giving me haircut, I really like that, because while haircut is going on, he is also enlightening me about God. So for this gentleman,
who knows whatever little he knows, his source of knowledge about God is his barber. Somebody else, he says, my pan bidi shop I go to buy pan. He is very, very devoted and he is very knowledgeable. Pan bidi shop keeper is the authority for knowing about God. Same thing if you tell here somebody, oh, I have learned physics. Where did you learn from? Oh, the pan bidi shop fellow. My barber has taught me physics. Everybody will laugh. What is this nonsense? See, this is the unfortunate state of affairs in our own country, in Bharatvarsha. They don't think the subject matter of God, if at all you want to know, whom should you approach? There is no standard, there is no authority, because they wrongly think that God means everybody can have their own understanding, they can have their own opinion, they can have their own viewpoint, but that they never apply to anything else. Regarding physics, you can have your own viewpoint, you can have your own understanding, you can have your own theory. It never works. Newton's law is Newton's law. I cannot say, according to me, Newton's law is this. I can never say that. According to me, music, there are 7 swaras, sapta swaras. That's the standard, right? But according to me, there are ashtaswaras. Can somebody claim that? Everybody else will laugh. What is this nonsense? Ashtaswara. There's only saptaswara, that's all. So, like that, when it comes to God, there is no definite understanding among the so-called religionists, and that's why you have so many translations of Bhagavad Gita. When Prabhupada was translating Bhagavad Gita in America, one lady approached Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, there are so many translations of Bhagavad Gita. You're writing one more. So which one should we study or read or follow? I'm really confused. She was very honest, actually, right? So Prabhupada said, as far as I'm aware, there are so many translations and none of them are presenting the actual explanation of the Bhagavad Gita according to the way Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna teaching Arjuna. So if you want to really understand Bhagavad Gita, what is Krishna teaching Arjuna? What has Arjuna understood when Krishna spoke to him? That is important. Not somebody else's viewpoint about what Krishna is speaking. So then she could understand that Prabhupada is writing Bhagavad Gita after receiving that knowledge in Parampara, and that is the way to receive properly the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So it's very unfortunate that in our country, till I think most of us, till we came across Prabhupada's books, we never had a proper understanding about God or spirit soul or spiritual subject matter. We never had a definitive understanding. And now, only because of Prabhupada, we have a clear, perfect, definitive understanding of this whole spiritual subject matter. So therefore, it is not that somebody can have their own opinion or their own viewpoint about any of the scriptures or anything to do with God. In fact, the Mayavada philosophy says God is indescribable, God is unknowable. So if you're unknowable, then why do you even attempt to know Him? Know God. There's no meaning, no? I'm trying to search for God. I'm a seeker of God. So how can you be a seeker of something which you cannot find out? So it's all simply, Mayavada philosophy means word jugglery. Cleverly they juggle words and pose as if they are some great scholars, some of them. So it's all hypocrisy. It's all cheating. Mayavada philosophy means cheating. So therefore, to save ourselves from these cheaters, the Supreme Lord personally comes and He sends His bona fide representatives like Prabhupada to actually enlighten us exactly, correctly, accurately about this subject matter. Therefore, it's very important that we ourselves stick to only understanding, reading, hearing from Prabhupada. And we also educate others, enlighten others who may be interested. Inquisitiveness is there among many people in society about this subject matter, but they are misled by so many wrong people. So therefore, we have to distribute Prabhupada's books, and we have to inform people that there is an authority, there is a standard, not that anybody can have their own opinion. Just like about any other subject, we just don't take anybody's opinion. Same way about God also, you cannot take anybody's opinion just like that, whichever you like. So this is the important realization that we should share with as many people as possible. And stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki.